I was elbow-deep in mud wrestling a busted irrigation pipe when a sheriff's cruiser roared onto my ranch lights, flashing and tires kicking up dust from her porch. Linda shrieked like a banshee, accusing me of trespassing on land I've owned for 12 years. My shirt clung to my skin, soaked from the gushing pipe I'd been fighting to keep my fields from flooding just minutes before I was ankle-deep in water, cursing the cracked valve. Now I was a criminal on my own property, all because Linda thought her HOA had godly authority over dirt that wasn't even theirs. The deputy stepped out, hand on his belt, as Linda poked a finger at me, screaming, "Arrest him! He's sabotaging our water." I stood in front of the deputy, calm as the Texas sky, and said, "She called you because I turned off my water." That sentence ignited the wildest week of my life. It started that morning when I saw my alfalfa fields drowning. For all my careful irrigation schedule, I followed the line and discovered a cracked pipe spewing water near the barn. No thing pipes burst when the weather turns from frost to heat. I turned off the main valve, grabbed my wrench, and began digging it. Should have been an easy fix. Then Linda's voice cut the air, shrill and theatrical. "Help, he's messing around with our water there." She was in a flapping bathrobe, barefoot, phone to her ear, as if she'd been waiting her entire life to catch me. My ranch isn't in her Hawaii, made sure of that when I bought it, carving it out of their jurisdiction to avoid nonsense like fence color rules, but Linda didn't care. She waved a laughable map that cut my land in half, marked with HOA zone in red, like a child's doodle. As the cruiser pulled up, she paced, tirading about community infrastructure and referring to my pipe fix terrorism. The deputy, appearing to want to be anywhere else, asked to see proof the land was mine. I wiped mud from my hands, produced my deed water rights and county map from a lockbox in my truck, and presented them. Linda continued to screech, but the deputy read the papers and stated, "Ma'am, he owns this, including the water." Her face turned ghost white, mouth hanging open like a stranded fish. I expected her to slink off. Instead, she accused me of faking documents and tapping the HOA. Well, half a mile distant, not connected to my system. I laughed. The deputy examined the muddy pipe and instructed her to apologize. She stormed off, threatening to locate me through her HOA. "You can't find a person who's not in your club," I called. She ignored humiliation, enraged her. I didn't yet realize she'd persuaded her HOA to attempt annexing my ranch property legally out of reach. 3 days of eerie quietness followed. Too still. On the fourth morning, a man in a soiled blazer, identifying himself Paul with the HOA Boundary Committee, appeared with a clipboard. I suppressed a laugh. There was no such committee. He said they'd evaluated my land for HOA inclusion. After a unanimous vote, I asked how they could claim private ranch land outside their zone. He grumbled about Linda's misfiled maps, gave me a welcome packet with regulations on paint colors and livestock sound, and left it in my mailbox when I declined it. That night I read it: dues, permits for repairs, irrigation schedules, regs on my water, which Linda had just accused me of swiping. A pink-tinted map designated my barn a community storage facility the next day. Linda pranced up, waving the map, smugly inviting me to HOA meetings. "Paint your barn beige to match our palette," she demanded. "It's staying red." I shot back. She warned of fines and an attorney. "Bring a dictionary." I said, "Jurisdiction's going to come up." HOA letters poured in, fines for non-compliance, illegal livestock, even my roosters crowing. I filed them under Linda's delusion. Then I caught teens spray painting boundary markers on my fence, giggling. Linda said, "This is HOA land." I put up high-res cameras and a monitored sign. Days afterward, Linda's landscaper attempted to tap my irrigation line with a T-connector for her garden, claiming it was communal. I showed her the blinking camera disconnect in 30 seconds. "Or you're on tape stealing," he ran off. I sent the footage, fake fines, and my deed to the sheriff, who called it the weirdest HOA case he'd seen. Linda wanted control. Land, water, silence, and wouldn't stop. I had deeds, videos, drone footage, and a trump card. My well independent for decades before her HOA. She was digging her own grave, and I was about to give her the shovel. Linda's annexation flopped. I disregarded her rules, left my barn red, and avoided her meetings. My defiance infuriated her. At an HOA meeting, I heard her venting about rogue landowners and water hoarding, showing photographs of my tanks and, well, all legal, and on my land. I crashed the public comment session, uninvited, and inserted a flash drive into their projector video. Rolled Linda's landscaper touching my pipe, teens painting my fence, my deed, water rights, and county map. You have no jurisdiction, I told. These are illegal acts. Linda screamed about edited videos and threats to order. I left, allowing the evidence burn. That evening, Alan, an HOA veteran, apologized at my door, saying some demanded Linda. She lost her grip, was slipping along. Came the sprinkler war. Linda trained hers. On my yard, drenching my fence, I diverted mine. Gray water on her roses. Neighbors stood around like it was a standoff. Her over-pressurized hose exploded, drenching her garden. She accused me of sabotage, but my cameras told otherwise. I offered a pressure regulator, smirking. She swatted it away, threatening lawsuits. Another letter signed by Linda and 2 board members, including timid Roger, accused me of wasting water. I went to Roger, who confessed Linda called it a routine. I gave him the actual map and sheriff's email. He fell silent. A county inspector came. The next badge. Flimsy truck, unmarked, to supposedly inspect my well. I requested his supervisor's phone. He booked my nephew, a water district employee, verified no inspection had been booked. The guy took flight. I made a police report with video. 2 days later, he returned clipboard and hard hat and tow. I stalled him with coffee, texting the sheriff. Cruisers arrived, detaining him. He confessed Linda paid him cash to pretend to be an official, scripting infractions. News spilled. Blogs called it HOA craziness. Linda's SUV. And the video exposed. Her neighbors apologized, one offering testimony, another explaining her history. Her trend became evident. Linda filed yet another frivolous HOA complaint about hazardous runoff. The letter's tentative tone revealed the board cracking. Susan, a board member, met me in a diner, spilling emails, fake maps, and stacked votes. She was afraid of legal repercussions and quit. Others followed. I retained a property rights attorney, surrendering videos, the false inspector's admission, and penalties we issued. Cease and desist letters to Linda and the HOA, warning suits for trespassing and defamation. Linda ripped her open, pacing crazily that night. She screamed in the street, blaming me for turning neighbors against her. Nobody defended her. Silence followed. No inspectors, no letters. But Linda was plotting. I scoured county archives, finding a 1970s well permit proving my system's independence, predating the HOA. My lawyer drafted a lawsuit notice attaching the permit, giving Linda a week to respond. She sent a 3-page rant, harassment, distress, nonsense. We filed a civil suit. The HOA board collapsed, members quitting, leaving it leaderless. A county mediator stepped in at the mediation. Linda ranted for 20 minutes, waving pictures of my barn and tanks. I showed my deed permit and videos, her landscaper, teens. The bogus inspector drone footage verified my lines. The mediator requested Linda for lawful evidence. She stuttered regarding community responsibility. Asked regarding the bogus inspector, she froze. The meeting concluded without resolution, but Linda was revealed Thursday morning. 2 black SUVs pulled up, headed by Linda with a clipboard, posing as a federal agent. 2 security men professed HOA code enforcement. I took them to the court injunction prohibiting HOA interference. They read, it looked at Linda, and one of them called his supervisor. Linda insisted they go ahead. 2 cruisers pulled up. Her stunt was against the injunction. The deputy inquired, who was their supervisor? I indicated Linda. She invoked emergency powers in case of water pollution. The men bailed, calling her a coward. She turned on me, shouting, you're a liar. The deputy took her in for trespassing. Her silence was more prominent than her screams. Clipboard landed in the dirt. Linda was hit with embezzlement charges for spending HOA money on inspectors, and security companions flipped one for testifying in exchange for immunity. The county froze the HOA, and all but one board members resigned. Linda's charges, mounted fines, and community service, a matter of public record socially. She was a pariah shunned by neighbors. I had a barbecue not to gloat but to mend kids played in. Sprinklers and I dedicated a pipe and nozzle sculpture to stubbornness and groundwater. Linda observed from her SUV uninvited. I nodded, then turned away. The HOA reformed transparently, apologizing formally. I framed their letter in my barn, digging deeper. I found my well's independence wasn't just legal. It was historic, tied to the land's first owners. Linda's last film, a desperate allegation of theft of water, collapsed against it. She grew weaker, a specter in her own tale, while my ranch flourished, peace flowing like water through my fields.